Well, children, it is good to see each one of you. We don't have as many children as we used to, but you are very, very important, and we're so glad for each one of you. You know, it's not exactly warm out there today, but it's not snowing. That is true. It's too warm to snow, but you know, it's 60 degrees warmer now than it was a few weeks ago. Yes, Nathan. Yes. But when it was 60 degrees colder, because that was about 20 degrees below zero, there's something that you can do that's really fun to do. I don't know if you've done it before, but you can take and get a glass of really hot water, and you can go outside, and you can take that glass of cold water, and you could throw it up in the air like that, and it will freeze and make a really pretty picture. Maybe this will work, maybe it won't. There it is. Okay, that's what happens when it's really cold out and you take some hot water and throw it up. You can see how they did it there? It's really cool. But you know what? You can go and you can get a glass of cold water, and even though it's not really cold like it is outside, it's just cold water that maybe just came out of the refrigerator, you can do the same thing. You know what it'll do? It'll rain on your head. It won't make any difference. Well, you know, when it was so cold out there, we have a bird feeder at home, and I was looking at those birds with their little tiny feet there, and they're so skinny, and you go, how do those birds' feet keep from freezing? And we were watching out the window. There's some birds' feet. We're watching out the window, and the deer, they were walking through the snow, and the snow was up to their knees, and I go, how do their feet keep from freezing? Well, birds and deer have something really similar. Birds, in Latin, it's called, if I'm saying it right, rete mirabili, or wonderful net. And you've seen like a fish net where the strands of the fish net, they all kind of cross each other, go back and forth. That's how the Lord made the bird's arteries and veins. It's this network. It's called a wonderful net. I think it ought to be called miracle net, because all those arteries and veins, they just form this net, and the bird's heart rate is very fast. So there's lots of blood pumping through those arteries and veins. And as the warm or hot blood from the heart gets pumped down to the feet, because it's touching all those network of veins, that cold blood coming up from the feet touches the hot blood coming down to the feet, and it makes that blood cold. It makes it almost as cold, not quite, almost as cold as whatever temperature they're in, and because the temperature is so close to the outside temperature, it doesn't freeze. Isn't that amazing? Now, deer and hoofed animals are kind of the same way, not quite, but real close to that, because their veins and arteries, they touch each other. So the arteries, the blood vessel that's taking that hot blood down to the feet, is touching that vein that's bringing that cold blood up from the feet, and so by the time the blood gets down to the feet, it's cold, and they don't freeze, because they're so close to the same temperature. It's kind of like when you throw that cold water up in the air, even though it's cold, it's not as cold as outside, but it doesn't freeze. You know, if we are cold, like that cold water, there's not much difference between us and the world, and we don't make a difference. We want to be hot in our witness for Jesus. You know, a candle or a light bulb, it does two things. It gives a light, but it also gives heat, right? And We want to have not only the warmth, but the light of Jesus so we can make a difference in the world. So we want to be not like the world, not just like that cold, almost like the outside temperature of the blood in the deer's feet and in the bird's feet. We want to be able to make a difference, okay? You can go back to your seats.